We are Zone 24/7, an advanced technology and research center established and headquartered in San Jose, California in 2004, specializing in offering end-to-end technology consulting and engineering services encompassing both hardware and software. Our sound research and development background means that we are constantly developing leading-edge technology solutions ahead of market needs. Our ability to meld hardware and software solutions places us among a handful of companies in the world with the ability to do so.
Zone 24/7 has continued to show phenomenal growth since its establishment, which has pushed us to be a pioneer in the IT industry. We work towards our vision of enhancing the emotional experience of everyone we touch, be it our customers or employees who are part of this great organization.
Our global outreach is empowered by local talent. We are the industry leaders when it comes to hardware and software, catering to an array of industries and providing state-of-the-art products and solutions for global customers. Zone 24/7 is led by a tech-savvy leadership focusing on technology innovation, and our direction is shaped by mentorship and guidance. We are an organization with autonomy and empowerment, which brings creativity and innovation to our day-to-day lives.
We have a diverse range of products and solutions being developed under one roof, bringing in major technologies and diverse tech stacks into our work. We are the industry leaders in a multitude of technology domains, including software engineering, artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data, robotics, embedded systems, and many more. We are also a pioneering leader in software quality assurance and test automation, striving towards making us a center of excellence in software quality assurance. Zone 24/7 has the luxury of a work culture that is collaborative, friendly, caring, and supportive. Both our culture and environment build camaraderie among us.
Our culture has inbuilt learning and development, defining us as a learning organization where knowledge and learning are highly valued. Zone 24/7 is a place where one can learn, grow, and achieve a great career.
We have a mentoring and coaching mechanism to support individual career growth. We follow industry best practices in managing talent and keep a high focus on the potential for growth and personal development.
Your aspirations are important to us. We provide opportunities to create, innovate, and influence our global products and solutions. You will be able to see the results of your work in a global environment and grow in a career aligned with your expectations and potential.
A very good evening. A warm welcome to all of you joining us today for the very first online workshop of CodeQuest, the Vault Edition, a thrilling cybersecurity CTF hackathon organized by the IEEE student branch of University of Colombo School of Computing. We are so excited to kickstart this journey with all of you amazing cybersecurity enthusiasts here tonight. I am Umaya Valpala, representing IEEE student branch of UCSC, and I'll be your moderator for today's session. Today's workshop is titled Introduction to CTF, or What is CTF? And whether you are a complete beginner to CTF or a seasoned player, this session is designed to give you a strong foundation to tackle the challenges that you will encounter in CodeQuest. Today, we will walk you through the world of Capture the Flag competitions, what they are, what kind of categories of challenges that you will encounter, and the skills that you need to develop. Alright, before we dive in, here's a little bonus for all our participants. Everyone who will stay with us until the very end will receive a valuable certificate of participation. So make sure to stick around until the end. And do change your username to the name that you used to register for the session so that it's easier for us to take your attendance. All right, now let me introduce you to our speaker for today. We are honored to have here with us Mr. Vinupa Thenuka, a passionate cybersecurity enthusiast, currently working as a software engineering intern at WSO2 and also an undergraduate here at UCSC. He brings both experience and insight that will surely help you navigate the CTF landscape better. Also, I encourage all of you to stay interactive during this session. Feel free to unmute yourself and ask questions from our speaker directly, or you can put your questions in the chat box so we can accommodate them. All right, so without further ado, let's get started. Mr. Vinupa, I'm warmly inviting you to take on the workshop.
Thank you, Maya, for that warm welcome. Give me a minute, I'll share my screen.
Of course.
Yes, so, all right, hope you can see the screen. So, I welcome you all to this session on what is CTF. So, I plan on laying the basic fundamental groundwork that is needed for you to take that first step in becoming a cybersecurity professional, or even like you're enthusiastic about it, get you started on this journey. So with a long weekend and vacation coming up, we still have a large participant count. So that goes to show how enthusiastic our participants are regarding this subject. So so let's move on to the session without further ado, and we'll get an idea on how it's gonna go. Yeah. So what are the goals of this session? Am I gonna make you like a proper hacker in about an hour or two? Not really. So the plan today is that I've been told many of our participants today are actually complete beginners to the CTF space as well as cybersecurity. And you all are enthusiastic to get into this arena. So the plan here is to get you that foundation on what cybersecurity is and how CTFs are connected with that, and teach you how to teach yourselves, really get to that position in the CTF community. All right, so I think all of you here have at some point seen like a hacking scene in a movie, right? Maybe that's what inspired you and gave you that curiosity to learn, like, what is this hacking and what is this in cybersecurity. So yeah, can I get like a raise of hands on anyone, like people who have seen CTFs in movies? Yes, we are getting a few hands now. Yeah, they keeps coming. Nice. All right. So what do the movies show us? All these black screens with green text flying and people in hoodies. That's the kind of portrayal we get when it comes to movies and like mainstream media on what cybersecurity is. Like people typing in a few commands and saying like I'm in and all that. But it actually is much more complicated when it comes in the real world, how cybersecurity takes place. So this left side picture is from the series Mr. Robot. I'm sure some of you may have watched that. So yeah, that is kind of like a bit closer to real world on what the cybersecurity whole landscape looks like. Yeah, so moving on, we'll come to the word capture the flag. So in the CTF space, to understand what capture the flag means, we'll first take like the literal meaning of the word capture the flag. So capture the flag is like originally we know it's an outdoor game played by kids. So like they divide to two teams and all that. And we come across this word more frequently when it comes to these popular multiplayer games. Like the capture the flag is a game mode in these popular games. So what is the common factor here, like the element of capturing the flag? So what necessarily happens is uh, like there are uh, two teams, like usually two teams, and they each have a flag of their own. And each team is trying to defend their own flag while trying to attack the other team to get their flag, like capture it. So when it comes to cybersecurity, this sort of directly translates to what a CTF is in a cybersecurity. So I put a definition here from an online source. So I think Wikipedia. Yeah. So capture the flag in cybersecurity is an exercise in which participants attempt to find text strings called flags, which are secretly hidden in purposefully vulnerable. So I'll come to that later. Purposefully vulnerable programs or websites for competitive and educational purposes. So, like we discussed before, like there's two teams trying to defend their own flag and attack the other team's flag. So that's like one flavor of CTFs. The other type, there are other types as well. I'll get to that in the next uh, slides. So the main point is like, okay, in the other games we actually see like there's a flag hidden somewhere, or there's a flag that we have to capture in the game. So how do we identify the flag in a CTF? So as it says, it's a text string. So how do we identify the flag? So generally the common format is like this. I've put an example here. So there's usually a prefix and there's the flag body in lead speak. So you might have heard of lead speak. I mean, that's fine. Like it's just writing text in with a mix of alphanumeric characters, so that like so it's a thing that originated like among cybersecurity community way back. So you can read into that all that. It's pretty interesting. So so essentially, it's the flag body with the prefix. So this prefix is usually it's specific to the competition. So for hack the box, it could be HTB, like that. And the flag body is something to do with the specific challenge that we are attempting. So like this is a common format, and it is important to remember like this is not like set in stone. Uh, each competition can adapt their own version of flag. So make sure to always read the instructions and the rules beforehand. So and check what form of flag that you're looking for, because without knowing what you're looking for, you can't really find the flag. All right, I hope that is clear. Yeah, so by the way, if you have any questions at any point, drop it in the chat. We'll get to that towards the end of the session. All right. Yeah. So moving on, we'll talk a bit about the origin of CTFs to get an understanding on how this came to be, like how is this all linked together. So this DEFCON conference is a conference that's been held in Las Vegas since 1993, I believe. And it's like a gathering of the cybersecurity enthusiasts and professionals. So in 1996, they decided to have a challenge to see like who's the better uh, professional, or who's more competitive among them. And that's how it's said that DEFCON CTF emerged. So DEFCON CTF is like known as the first CTF that was ever held. And today, now it's like the gold standard of CTFs. Like there are many really good CTFs in the world internationally, in the international level CTFs. And this is like the Olympics, like only like top tier teams play here. So yeah, even this year there will be a DEFCON. The 33rd DEFCON will be held this year. So it's been held every year since the beginning. So it's interesting stuff. And yeah, so all that's great. So why do it? What's the whole point of doing CTFs? What would you gain from doing it? So we are here to discuss that now. So it provides you like a safe environment to learn. So learning cybersecurity could go wrong real easy. Like, let's say you are passionate about cybersecurity and you think, okay, I'll try to learn some penetration testing, and you go ahead and attack some actual real world organization's website to like try some new skills you learned. They will sue you, and you will get in a lot of trouble. So instead, capture the flag competitions are like a really good safe playground to test your skills and learn new things in the space of hacking and cybersecurity in general. So it helps you develop your skills and learn from others as well. So it's like a huge community. If you couldn't solve it, you could like after the competition, you learn it from someone else. I'll get to that point as well in the uh, future slides about how the whole community learning part works. And it helps you find your niche. So when it comes to CTFs, we will be discussing that there are many types of challenges that you come across in the CTF. So, so you might be good at all of these challenges, but most of the time you would be like really good at one or two specific categories of these challenges. So this way you find your niche and you can build upon that to to evolve into a career position that you like, and like that. So another key point is networking and career growth. So these CTFs are a great place to meet people who have the same interest as you, like who are passionate about this CTFs and cybersecurity. And it's a great place to network with these individuals as well as network with organizations that are looking for talent in the cybersecurity realm. So your skills, if you highlight your skills in the CTFs, there are career opportunities waiting for you with these organizations as well. And last and most importantly, it's fun. So it's a great exercise. It's a teamwork. It helps you like work with your curiosity and work your mind. So if that kind of thing is like really you're passionate about that kind of thing, then this is a really good exercise. All right. So then we'll need to discuss like, okay, CTFs are great for you, and see how do CTFs help the cybersecurity landscape of the world. It's like how important is CTFs for the industry and the cybersecurity landscape. So uh, generally it's very important that it raises security awareness. So every time there's a CTF, people take part and people understand, okay, like these are the vulnerabilities that are possible. It's easy to someone to get into our systems, that kind of awareness. And it's identify risks associated with the latest and greatest. So whenever a new technology comes out, uh, some organizations would like to have their own CTF, like a closed CTF, so that they get people who are passionate and skilled in the CTF space to try and crack their system or their new solution or whatever, and that helps them helps them see their possible vulnerabilities before they get exploited out in the wild. So that's another aspect of how CTFs are used, and it helps build more secure software infrastructure. Yeah, so going with the last point. So when an organization builds a new solution, now they know how how a hacker would approach this solution, like how a hacker would attempt to crack into their system or like break into their system. So when they have the knowledge of what weak points would they try to manipulate to get in, then they can improve their security around those points and build overall better systems and infrastructure. And like I mentioned in the last slide as well, it's a great place to identify talent and a training ground for future professionals. So with all that said, we'll move on to the fun part. So these are the categories of CTF. So CTFs can be mainly broken down into two parts. So remember, I told you that similar to the real world capture the flag, a team has to defend their flag while trying to capture the other team's flag as at the same time. So yeah, that is the attack and defense type of CTFs. So essentially, your team would be getting a virtual network or a system that you have to defend while trying to attack the other team's systems to capture their flags. So whichever team gets the most flags wins. So that is the like initial type of CTF, I believe there was, and it sounds like a lot of fun, but I personally have not participated in attack and defense type of CTF. The most common CTF type we find is Jeopardy. Sorry, Jeopardy. In Jeopardy CTFs, it's essentially you're not attacking and defending against each other. So in the competition, the organizers have set uh, a set of questions across different types in different categories, across different categories. So you can see here these web, crypto, forensics, and so on. So across these categories, there are a set number of questions that all the teams would be attempting to crack. So all the teams in this case are playing against a set number of questions and trying to capture the flag. So these questions would be weighted in, they have like their weight. So easy questions have less points. The more difficult, it would have more points allocated. So once you like capture the flag and submit the flag into the system, you would get the allocated number of points for that question. Yeah, so okay, so here's a little definition on that. So teams work to solve a set of challenges independently, often categorized, and yeah, see, these are defined by the organizers and common to all teams. So the teams are not fighting against each other. In the other scenario, the teams are actually fighting against each other. So for a little example, this attack and defense type of CTF, the final CTF of DEFCON is an attack and defense type. So just so you know, like it's a really like engaging event to watch, like everyone actively attacking and defending their systems. All right. So since most of the CTFs we come across are Jeopardy type, and even CodeQuest is going to be a Jeopardy type CTF. So we'll dive a bit more deeper into Jeopardy CTFs and understand what kind of what are the main challenge types that we find in Jeopardy CTF. Yeah, so since we have a lot of newbies to the CTF space as well as cybersecurity space, I will be not going deep into the technical aspects of these challenges because that would also take a lot of time, and it might get confusing really fast. So I will be touching on a bit of basics regarding each of these categories to give you a general idea. And if it's like too confusing to grasp at once, then that's totally fine. Towards the end, I'll tell you how to step-by-step approach these categories and learn yourself, become better yourself. All right, so the first 5 types here, so web exploitation, cryptography, reverse engineering, binary exploitation, and forensics. So these types are pretty much standard. So they are always categories of their own. And the 6th type, the miscellaneous and overseen type put there. So that's not like an actual category. It's like a basket to like hold all the other types of challenges. So if you want, you can like in certain competitions, OSINT is a separate category. So like that. So it can differ, but the top 5, it's pretty much standard. So we'll discuss them one by one here. All right. So web exploitation, commonly known as web challenges. So focuses on identifying and exploiting vulnerabilities in web applications and APIs. So in a web challenge, what you're essentially doing, as the name suggests, it's against a web system. So it's a website or an API that you have to exploit the vulnerabilities in. So to simply put, so let's say you have a website, you are given a website and there's a login form, like username, password, and login button. So there could be a vulnerability in the input validation that allows you to use a SQL injection attack to get into the system. So that's a kind of a web exploitation attack. So I've noted some common types of common challenges you face in this type. So authentication and session issues. Of course, you have like token hijacking and all that, and logic bugs and misconfiguration. So that's a bit generic to identify. And yeah, next up we have cryptography. So in crypto challenges, it mainly deals with uh, encryption, encoding, and hashing mechanisms, where you are given you are given a uh, you're given an encrypted file or an encrypted string that you have to decrypt in order to find the flag hidden inside. So like a common easy type question you might find in this category is to like decrypt a weak classical cipher, such as like the Caesar cipher. You can easily decrypt that to find a flag. So that's a very basic example. And there could be like RSA and ECC encryption implementations with issues as well. So cryptography can always get pretty complicated very fast, because the deeper you go, the more it involves maths, and it gets very complicated. But it's a very fun type of activity nonetheless. Moving on, we have reverse engineering. So as the name suggests, it involves like essentially you are given a downloadable, you're given an executable file to download. So the executable file is already pre-compiled and all that, so you can't see the source code in the file. And so your job is to reverse engineer that to understand the inner logic of that given executable, so that you can manipulate it to extract the flag from inside it. So usually there can be like a executable that requires a specific input string to output the flag. So by reverse engineering it, you find what type of input string it is looking for to output the flag, and then you give that input string to the executable, and it will output the flag. So that's a basic example of what a reverse engineering challenge is. Like there's a lot of different variations in these, but like a general idea. And next up we have, yes, binary exploitation, so commonly known as pawning challenges. So this is essentially very similar to reverse engineering. So here what you do is you're given an executable file to download, as well as an IP address and a port number where that executable is running in a remote system. So basically what you do is you take that downloadable file and you like reverse engineer it to find out the vulnerabilities it has, and then you use that knowledge to attack the actual running session. And like you use that vulnerabilities to attack the session and get access into the session. So maybe it has like a, I don't know, some open port or something you discover, and then you get into it. And once you get into the remote system has the flag that you need to find. So the downloadable in this case does not have the file. So common vulnerabilities like given in the downloadable are like that you use, sorry, not the downloadable, the common vulnerabilities you use to gain access would be memory corruption and string format vulnerabilities in sort of printf like scenarios. Yeah, next up we have forensics. So like the name suggests, so in a crime scene, detectives would come and do a forensic search and analyze the evidence to find any hidden details. So this is essentially that in the cybersecurity space. So this requires digging into files and memory dumps, and maybe recovering deleted files, so on and so forth. So this deals with metadata analysis, and of course packet capturing and inspection, and memory inspection. So I will be talking about tools regarding this as well in a bit. So in the next category is we have miscellaneous and OSINT. So OSINT stands for Open Source Intelligence. So yeah, I've noted here that it covers anything that doesn't fit into the standard categories. So some noteworthy things to know are, so OSINT challenges I've rarely come across in my experience, but I have found one OSINT challenge in a CTF that I played, and it was really interesting. So essentially what you have to do is you're using the data that's out there about a person. So it could be their social media or whatever, and investigating their digital footprints to find a flag hidden. So it could take many forms, but in my case, it was like they organized the OSINT activity around the person like who everyone knew, and that person had at some point created a post with the flag in a picture. So you have to go through his uh, like you have to search through all his digital presence and find that post. So that kind of activity. And steganography is essentially hiding data in media files. So this is the method you use to like hide strings in actual like photographs. So you could like take an image file and hide a string inside it, and it would still hide the string, and it would be an image file. So from the outside you would not see any difference, but steganography is like diving deep into the uh, binary or hex level of that to find the hidden messages. And logic puzzles involve a bit of algorithms and whatnot as well in this miscellaneous category. Yeah, so that wraps up the categories. And yes, so talking about how you should phase your learning journey. So what I just said, if it sounded like too much, like no need to worry, because it can be overwhelming. It can be a bit overwhelming at first, but I explain the category so that you have a better idea of what to prepare for in taking part in your first CTF. So it's important that you have the fundamentals down right. So let's say basic network knowledge and OS knowledge, somewhat Linux knowledge, all that is important in order to getting the fundamental level right. So otherwise you can't, if you start a challenge, if you are lacking some core knowledge about some aspect of this, then it becomes very difficult to tackle that. So what I suggest is, so it's not practical to like learn all these things and then come back to playing CTFs. So what I suggest is, as you go, if you encounter any blockers that you encounter due to any lack of knowledge in a particular subject, just get out there and search about it, learn it yourself. So that's the best way to fill in the gaps that we have in our knowledge. Otherwise, it could be in the middle of a competition, in the middle of a like crucial moment that you realize that you do not know that this part. So yeah, a bit of Linux knowledge is essential, because essentially uh, most of the time CTFs, you need the environment to be set up as a Linux system, but it is not like essential. I'll explain it in the upcoming slides as well. But yeah, as I was saying, it's really important that you get the fundamentals of your knowledge sorted. And next up, the power of write-ups. So what are write-ups? Remember I told you like how you can learn from other people playing the CTFs. So a write-up is essentially someone who played a challenge and succeeded in it, writing down the experience. So for example, let's say you attempted a pawning challenge in some famous CTF, and then you were successful. You found the flag, and it was you got the marks for the flag. Now, next up, what you could do is you could do a write-up about how you approach this problem, what worked for you, what you tried. So that kind of thought process, when you lay it out like that, it's really valuable for someone else who's getting started on to learn. So I'm not saying for you to start writing write-ups at the start. I'm just saying what a write-up is so that you can use it as a learning source to learn when you're tackling these problems yourself. Uh, so essentially a great way to learn how to tackle these CTF challenges is when you are taking part, like when, let's say you are in a, you're not in a CTF like actual competitive situation and you are learning a challenge. Okay, you're doing a challenge for practice, and it's important like you find like a really challenge with a lot of attempts, like a lot of people have attempted that. It's not like a very deserted one. And in this challenge, it's it would have, so when you search, it would have write-ups. So if it's like a popular challenge, it's very common to have write-ups. So you don't read the write-up straight away. So when you're in the learning phase, what you should do is you should tackle the challenge and attempt it for a few hours. You will feel stuck, but it's important that you work your mind with the challenge, uh, at least for the first bit before coming to the write-up. So once you have tackled the challenge yourself, then the write-up is like a really good learning journey. So when you read the write-up, you know what you did wrong in your attempt, and now you learn, okay, so this is how this person has attempted it, and it has been then they have been successful in this. And you also see, like, write up if they list their thought process. You see, okay, I thought like this, but no, he has started off like this and then he moved on to these parts. So this is essentially how you build the thought process for a CTF, step by step. Like at the very beginning you wouldn't know how to, like, when you see the question, the how to get started right away. But with experience, you will start like you'll start to get that feeling like, okay, this I should start this like this way. If this doesn't work, I'll attempt this another way, like that. So I'll come back to that. And yeah, here's a few practice platforms that I have listed out. Yeah, so Pico CTF is very popular. I think, yeah. Because CTF was developed by the Carnegie Mellon University. So as a support for children and, not children, as high schoolers and undergraduates who are like really getting into the CTF space. And I highly recommend Pico CTF for anyone who's a newbie out there who's just getting into CTFs, because it has a really good set of learning resources for each type of challenge, and other than the challenges, just basic fundamental understanding as well. Yeah, so I highly recommend Pico CTF. And also in Pico CTF they recently introduced, I think, a platform called Pico Gym. So what it essentially is, like a lab space where you can practice their questions. So that's why I said, in the Pico CTF scenario, to just get started, you don't need to have a whole Linux setup at the very beginning as well. So you could just go to Pico CTF and get started with their basic challenges and build your way up from there. So yeah, highly recommend. And going on to the other platforms. So try Hack Me, Hack the Box, Over the Wire, CTF Time. So Hack the Box has some really great actual competitive CTFs that you should try taking part. Like each year they have their Hack the Box University CTF as well, which is a gathering of all university undergraduates from all over the world. It's a really large event, and I think it allows only one team per university. So team up with your friends and give it a go. It's a really interesting CTF and a really good learning opportunity. And Try Hack Me, Over the Wire, all these platforms have all their own set of practice questions as well. I think Over the Wire also has a separate like course structure on following from top to bottom. But for beginners, I suggest Pico CTF. But if you're a more experienced person, you could start with Over the Wire. When it comes to CTF time, it's essentially the most important thing about CTF time is it's used to find international scale CTFs. Like it is a place where CTFs are listed, like, okay, this is coming up, this is in the next month, uh, so on and so forth. So CTF time, other than that, it's a great resource to find the write-ups of popular CTFs. So let's say for example, let's take the Hack the Box University CTF. So if you take part in the university CTF, let's say 2024, like a couple of months later, the people who wrote the write-ups for that CTF would publish their links in CTF time under the question name. So if you attempted that question and you couldn't solve it, you could go to that write-up and understand what went wrong and where you could improve. So that is the learning process of capture the flags, because every competition you go to is a learning experience. Every time you learn something new, and over time you get better. Yeah. So I thought of giving a brief introduction about the tools. Like this is in no way an exhaustive list of the tools. Just I've listed a few most common ones that you would come across. Yeah, so generally you need a text editor such as VS Code or Sublime Text or whatever, so whatever you prefer, and a terminal to do the like to run the commands and all that. I will get to the setup part in the coming slides. So for web challenges, the most basic tool you use is the browser dev tools. So in Chrome or Firefox or whatever, like pressing the F12 button takes you to the developer tools in the browser. So that is the most basic form of tool. So in that you can usually use the network tab to see the request and get an idea from that as well. In addition to that, Burp Suite and SQL Map are two popular tools used in web challenges. Especially SQL Map is a really great tool for SQL injection attacks and uh, all that. Yeah, in networking, so networking is not a category. I put it as networking because these are the tools that are needed for network related stuff. So Nmap is usually used to scan your target. So let's say you are given a IP address and a port number of a machine to perform like a pawning on. Then you can use Nmap to see like what ports have they left open and all that. Next up, Wireshark is used to intercept network traffic. So you can packet capture, essentially capture the packets of Wireshark, and if it's unencrypted traffic, you could view the contents. When it comes to crypto challenges, this CyberChef is an online tool. You don't even have to download that, I believe, and it's called like a Swiss Army knife because it has a whole lot of functionality built into that. So all sorts of number conversions, so base 64 to ASCII, all that. So all sorts of conversions are possible within that tool as well. Yeah, it's a highly recommended tool. So next up, for password cracking, we have Hydra and John the Ripper. So essentially, Hydra is used for brute forcing uh, like online brute forcing passwords, and John the Ripper is used to offline hash cracking and that sort of thing. Forensics, we have the strings tool and binwalk. So they have like interesting GitHub repos and all. You can go read through these if needed. I'm just giving you like a basic overview of some tools. This is not all, but some that can be useful to get started. And for reversing and pawning challenges, there's Gidra and GDB. So GDB is the no debugger, I believe. Yeah, so in the bottom I've listed that learn the tools as you need them for specific challenges. So it's not practical to go out there and just learn every tool that there is and then come back to attempting challenges. So it's important that like when you're getting started, this is another reason why people get overwhelmed. So there's a whole lot to learn, and like going down into this rabbit hole, you can feel lost. So it's important that you start with small challenges, and then in those challenges you will know, okay, I need to learn this tool for this, and then step by step you gain experience on each tool. uh, all right. Yes, so coming to the CTF environment, so this is uh, I'll I told you I'll talk about this after the tools. So on the left side, you might recognize it's a picture of Kali Linux. So a question that is that gets asked a lot is like, do we need Kali for CTFs? And like, is it essential? So it is not necessarily essential, but could be helpful. So the idea is Kali Linux is packaged with most of the tools that you would need going into a CTF. So remember I told about Hydra, Burp Suite, and John the Ripper, Nmap, Wireshark. So all these tools would be pre-installed in Kali Linux generally. So that's what makes it more appealing, I think, for most professionals. But Kali Linux has a lot of features beyond that as well. But you don't necessarily need that. So if you're just getting started, what I'm saying is it's important you get started without worrying too much about your environment. So if you are starting to learn through Pico CTF, for example, at the very start, uh, don't straight away just focus on building your environment and setting the terminal text color and all that, whatever you like. But then you can focus more on the concepts by going into the Pico CTF and maybe using their own built-in that Pico gym, so that you get a virtually hosted instance to uh, practice your attack on that. So moving forward with that, you can also use WSL, so Windows Subsystem for Linux. So on the right side, that's a picture of WSL. Um, I've heard that it works like fine with most of the things that you have to do, but I'm not sure. So what we usually do is we install a virtual machine. Uh, like when we are going for a CTF, we have a virtual machine with Ubuntu or Kali or whichever Linux distro you prefer. So if it's like something like Ubuntu, then you have to install the tools required one by one. So that way, I think you have more control over it. But it can go, whatever suits you best, you can choose. So yeah, talking about that setup. Yeah, another factor about the setup is when you are going for a competition, make sure you have like a ready setup for that. So when you are learning, you can build the setup with whatever tools you need. Like when you are in the process, you are going through that, you would encounter places where you think, okay, I need this tool to get this part done, and then you can install that tool into uh, your system. But when you're going for a CTF, like actual competitive scenario, it's always better to have all these things pre-configured. So have your uh, most used tools installed and all ready to go when you get there. Yeah. Okay, moving on. Okay, so strategies in tackling a CTF. Okay, so I'll give you like a basic overview on what to practice when taking part in a CTF. So the most important thing is you need to read the rules before the CTF. So they would publish the rules uh, sometime before the day of the event. So prior to the event, you have to go through the rules and understand uh, all the specific details. So like I told, the flag type could be different from what you're expecting. So you have to be ready for that. And there could be like a time penalty for questions. So there could be like the first person to solve it gets full marks, then the next team would get slightly reduced marks. So there could be scenarios like this as well. And like I mentioned in the previous environment related slide, make sure you have your environment ready to go when you are going for a CTF. So like I said, when you're learning, you can build your environment with your experience, and when you are going to the CTF, then you would have an environment ready to go with you. And another important factor is know your team. So I think I mentioned this. So CTFs are usually always team activities. So there's no like solo CTFs that I've come across. So when it's a team activity, everyone should be aware of each other's strengths and weaknesses, and there should be great communication among the team members. And so when you're preparing for a CTF, make sure that like everyone is like preparing for their specific question type or whatever. And this is important in forming a team as well. So when a team is coming together, everyone should have this share the same passion towards CTF to make it work. And another thing is, don't try to like learn the whole thing like the night before. It's not practical reading like many write-ups just the night before. You won't retain much. It's much more practical to go through these challenges and write-ups step by step, and that way you would know, like you would have in your mind when you come across a question, it's important you remember, okay, I've done something like this. Okay, not exactly this, but something that's close to this. So you can always rely on that knowledge you gained from from your previous practice sessions. Moving on, so during your CTF, it's important that you scan the challenges first. So when a CTF starts, they would first release the challenges of each type. So you should have to like quickly scan what type of challenges are there, and get a general idea on what what you should tackle and what your team members should tackle. So you would know what's best for you, like when you scan the challenges. And it ensures that this way, none of the challenges get forgotten. So sometimes there could be like a really simple and easy challenge, but everyone thinks, "Ah, okay, he's doing it and he's doing it," and everyone thinks like that. And that challenge, you get it, it might get left alone till like towards the end of the event, where you suddenly remember, "Ah, nobody has done this." So uh, there might not be enough time. Those type of things always happen. So it's important that you assess all the questions when it's available to you. Yeah, another thing is read the question descriptions very carefully, because usually these descriptions are limited to a couple of lines, but this description is the biggest hint you are going to get to solving the problem. Even the name of the challenge is can be a hint sometimes. So pay close attention to the description. And in some cases, some CTFs have hint options. So you can get hints by like there's the option to take hints, but in certain ones, the hints will cost you points. So let's say the question is worth 200 points, but if you take a hint, that's gonna reduce like 20 points. So like that. So in that kind of scenario, you have to think it through and think like, is this sacrifice worth it? So it's better than like, if it means between you not being able to complete the challenge and complete the challenge, it might be a risk worth taking, and like that. Another thing that you should pay attention during the CTF is time management. So it's really easy to get focused on one question, and you won't feel that uh, time slipping past you. So if you are like hanging on to one question and thinking to yourself like, I'm somehow gonna finish this, I'm not gonna move on from this, then that's a bad practice, because sometimes some questions, it's better like when you realize that you are stuck, it's better to move on to a different question where you might score, and then hanging on to that question. So it's like a balance. So if you are giving up on questions like too easily, like you read it and take a couple of minutes to try it and then give up quickly, and then you would have gone through all the questions but not like solved any of them. So it should be a balance, when you should know that this is when when this is not working out, to move on to the next question. Yeah, another important part would be taking notes. So like I said, people make write-ups about challenges as well. So you have to like it's always best practice to take a quick note of what you have already tried and what worked and what didn't. So that way, even during the challenge, so when you are like going through it, you know, okay, I already tried this didn't work. Okay, next time try this didn't work. So you have a log of what you tried and what you didn't. So it's a good practice to uh, have a rough note when you're attempting more complex challenges. Yeah. So remember in the previous slide, I talked about how write-ups are like really valuable to your learning journey. So even during a CTF, you can use write-ups for your advantage. So what I'm saying is when you're playing a CTF, that those questions would be new. So those questions specifically would not have write-ups out there. But if you have done enough practicing and you have gone through enough questions, you when you see the question, it would ring a bell like, okay, I've done something like this. So the question layout might be different entirely, but if you like, if you have the feeling like, okay, this could be that type of question, then even if you don't remember how you tackle that practice question, if you don't remember the like how you uh, got the flag, but still you have the write up for that practice question, then you can go through that practice question quickly and get an idea on how that question is tackled. So that might be helpful in tackling the question in the actual CTF. So that's another point to note. Yeah, also you can think outside the box, because sometimes the solution is just staring you in the face, but you don't see it because you're overthinking and overcomplicating things, trying to fit it into like the uh, challenge types you have created in your mind. Because sometimes it's just a flag in a plain text file in the machine. So always try to think outside the box sometimes, because some questions are much simpler than people anticipate them to be. Yeah, and it's important that you enjoy this whole experience, because taking part in capture the flag competition or any competition at all is about having fun and enjoying the journey. So, you know, making new friends, having fun. It's a great overall experience when you enjoy every moment of it, regardless of whether you win or lose. Yeah. So like I explained, these CTFs have a steep learning curve. So your first few CTFs might be overwhelming. You might not even get any flags at all sometimes. But if you should know that it's normal, and you need to have the passion to keep going regardless of any of those setbacks, and that passion, like in everything in life. So that motivation and passion will get you to a better place without even knowing it. So if you give up from your first CTF, then that's in vain, because it is always going to be difficult to tackle your first CTF, because then you have not gathered much experience from CTFs. All right. Yeah. So my most important takeaway is like there's no better way to learn something than to experience it for yourself. So this applies to most things that we do in computer science, be it any other aspect of life. So when it comes to cybersecurity, CTFs are the best way to learn something by practically doing it. Like I said in the beginning of the session as well, this is the safest playground where you can learn actual skills that you can put to use in a future career in cybersecurity. And another point worth noting is that the only thing separating a skilled cybersecurity professional from a malicious hacker is your mindset. So once you have gained that knowledge, don't let your values. So, sorry, once you have gained that knowledge, don't let the knowledge mislead your values. Let your values guide the knowledge, and always be ethical about your hacking practices. Um, yeah, that brings it towards the end of my presentation. But yeah, we are open for questions. So if you have any questions, drop them in the chat. We'll discuss for a bit. Like, I need to hear what you guys are thinking, what problems you guys have. And in addition to that, connect with me on LinkedIn. I dropped my username there, and you can also drop a chat, ask any questions you come across as well. Yeah, feel free to connect. And a huge thank you to the CodeQuest organizing committee, and along with everyone from IEEE student branch of UCSA as well for having me. Now I'll be handing back to Maya. Over to you.
Everyone, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the Zoom chat box, or you can directly unmute yourself and ask the questions as well.
All right, I'm getting a few direct messages as well.
All right.
Yeah, it's better, guys, if you could drop it in everyone so that everyone can see the question. Yeah, so first question, this is a good one. So how much functionality does WSL2 offer compared to having the whole OS installed? It is sufficient. Is it sufficient for a CTF? So, so basically now WSL has been getting better over the years. Now there's also a specific Kali installation as well for WSL, like officially supported guide. And I read that it also has the complete graphical UI and all the tools as well. But points to note would be like there's no direct USB connectivity to a WSL call instance, as well as the network can face problems sometimes, as I've heard. So those are some things to look out for. Yeah, it's pretty new, so there would be a few points that need to be polished over time. If you're going for like a full OS install, I mean, that would take much more space and resources. So yeah, you could give it a try. I just explained it because it's a very new thing that just came out. Yeah, but you can always rely on like a virtual machine. Another question is, what do you think about the cybersecurity field job market in Sri Lanka? Yeah, so I think it's getting bigger and bigger because there is like more and more job opportunities for cybersecurity field in Sri Lanka. And yeah, I've seen many opportunities as well, many international opportunities as well coming to Sri Lanka because cybersecurity is a growing market as always, but it may not be as common as other IT professions because you don't need as many cybersecurity engineers per organization, but it's still a very in-demand skill. All right, so
Mr. Vinupa, we have another question in the chat
yeah,
box as well. So Duleep asks, are there any programming skills needed to solve CTFs? If so, what languages?
yes, that's a great question. So when I was talking about the tools, I was thinking, should I mention any languages specifically, but I didn't. Uh, so something to get started with would be Python. So Python can be very useful for certain question types. I don't quite remember. There was this Python toolbox for pawning, I believe. I'm not sure, pawning or crypto, that offers a lot of functionality as well as a toolbox. So you can learn Python because it's easier to script, create certain scripts as well. So, and Python is a language that's easier to get started in. Uh, Bash is always helpful. So because you have to learn Linux anyway for this. So get a touch of bash along with that as well. And with GPT and all that these days, it's easier to create bash scripts and Python scripts and all that. So I don't think that's much to worry about that. uh, yeah, there's another
Great.
question as well from Asanka asking, is there any specific language to learn cybersecurity? Yeah, in addition to what I just said, so for these reverse engineering challenges, you might come across a bit of assembly as well. And that's even I would say that assembly is pretty hard to understand. But you don't need to be like a pro. When you're going through questions, you start to understand it a bit by bit. So yeah, that would be fine. Starting off, I think Python would be a great place to start. Yeah, languages like C would also be useful. Yes, Sumaya, do we have another question?
No, that's what we have
Yeah,
got.
I've got another one now.
Okay.
Okay. Is it okay to use Parrot OS? Yeah, so Parrot OS is, as I've heard, also very similar to Kali Linux as well, because it comes pre-packaged with most of these tools. So like I said, when we are going for these different, what do you call it? Linux, different flavors of Linux, I would call it. So different flavors of Linux. So what's essentially changing is how it's packaged together. So basically, Kali is built on top of Debian, I believe. So I like that it's all down under. It's mostly same. So it's about the tools that comes pre-packaged. And there's one, what are the flags? I have never tried this before. Yeah, so like I explained, so flags are like I showed you that format of flags. There's a prefix of like the competition name, and within the curly brackets or any brackets, there's this flag containing lead speak. So this flag is usually hidden somewhere. So let's assume it's a pawning challenge and you have to get access to like a remote machine. In the remote machine, like in the desktop itself, there could be a file called flag.txt, and it could be just in there. Another thing that I forgot to mention is in the pawning challenges, uh, some uh, some competitions have a separate category called full pawn, full PWN. So in the full pawn, the only difference is you have to get the root privileges. So in a normal pawning challenge in the remote, you get access to the remote system and you get whatever the flag. In full pawn, the only difference is you get access, then you have to get root access, then you will find the flag. Okay, I think I
There's
answered your question.
there's two other questions in the chat box as well. Shall I read it out?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so there's this question. I just want to know how to stay secure when connecting with an open VPN and doing CTFs. For example, with HTTP, we have to connect through their VPN, and I've heard it's not secure enough on free accounts.
Yeah, that is a valid concern. So for Hack the Box, they give like instructions on joining through OpenVPN, I believe. Yeah. Question says OpenVPN, right? Yeah, so we have to join their VPN to access the machine, and yes, it is there is a bit of risk allocated with that. So that's the reason I suggest you have like isolated virtual machine for these activities, so that your virtual machine, within your virtual machine, you create the VPN, and then if in the case of any malicious actors, then they wouldn't gain access to your main device directly. Yeah, there's a couple more questions as well. Is it okay if I take this?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. How to find CTF competition calling? Is there any websites or community? And do we need a team to play? Can't we play individually? So answering the first question, so usually even I've personally missed like a CTF one time because I didn't see any post regarding that. I later only knew that it happened. So that kind of happens here, because we don't have like a standardized place to get to know about all the CTFs. But you could stay tuned on all these groups on hackathon updates and all. So they are usually publicized all everywhere. When it comes to international CTFs, of course, in places like CTF time, they all get listed out. And in addition to that, so if you know that a CTF took place in a particular year, then usually it takes place in within the same same time period in the following year as well. So it's always good to keep an eye out. So if, let's say, it happened August this year, so you know that it might again happen August next year, that kind of thing. So yeah, there's no very standardized platform over here. Another one, is there a place where we can download vulnerable VMs? Not sure what that means. So essentially, when you're playing challenge on a platform, let's say Pico CTF, you are playing a reverse engineering challenge, and they will provide you uh, the executable file with the vulnerability. So you have to essentially download it and do the task on that. I believe that's what you asked. Yeah, again, that's okay. And I missed that part of the question. Do we need a team to play? Can't we play individually? So some CTFs do allow that, like, regardless of whether you have a team or not. So, like, let's say it's a maximum of 4 people, but if they allow it, you can participate alone as well. But the thing is, when it's, CTFs are mostly time happening within a time frame. So, if it's like one person versus four, odds are that the 4 people are like a 4-person team would get more flags than you alone could get in that time frame. But like if you just want to get started and get into the community, go for it alone. And there you might even meet new teammates, potential teammates, and make new friends. So that's a networking opportunity. And there's a question about Black Arch. Yeah, there's a reply to it as well. Thank you for the reply. Yes, he is correct. So it's asking, if I go with Black Arch, is it harder to learn than Kali Linux? And yeah, so it's essentially Arch or Black Arch. So anyway, if you go with Arch, it's gonna be you have to like really know your stuff. You have to like there's no graphical user interface. You have to start from the command line, and even the installation is a whole process. You might know that. So the thing with Kali is already pre-packaged to be a bit user-friendly than that. So Kali has like a easy installer and a graphical installer for you to go through, and you can install it, and all the tools are like, it's familiar. You can click on it and open it, that kind of environment. In addition to that, there's the command line environment as well, but it offers more compatibility in terms of graphical interactions. But if you want to like have the most efficient and most bare bones system, and you can go with Arch. But if you are a beginner, I don't recommend you going with Arch. Start with something else and build your way up to Arch. Right. Is it safe to use Hack the Box in free accounts without subscribing? Yes, we got that question before as well. So yeah, there is a security concern. Like I haven't tried practicing on HTB. Like I have played a few challenges on Hack the Box. So in those instances, I used the VPN. It was a bit spotty, but I didn't face any issues. But yes, there is a valid concern there. I'm not sure whether during their like competitions they are giving like pro level VPNs or anything like that. Yeah, that's something to look out for. I'm not sure. Did I miss any questions? Guys, if you have any questions, you can drop it in the chat. I think we can have a couple more questions. We have a few minutes.
Anybody has questions, you can directly unmute yourself and ask as well.
Also, for any previous questions, if I didn't answer what you were asking, you can ask again. So I think I covered all of them. All right, then that seems like all of you.
All right. Guess that's all the questions that we are getting today. Okay, so, well, I'll take this time to thank our speaker. Thank you so much, Mr. Vinupa Thenuka, for that insightful and very interesting session. I'm sure everyone here learned something new, and I think we all feel really confident about diving into CTFs now. That was an amazing presentation as well. Thank you so much for joining here and taking your time and effort. We truly, truly appreciate it so much.
You're welcome, and thank you for having me. And all of
We
you
honored.
who are here, I have to thank you as well, because you guys have been an amazing audience. The questions have been superb as well, like on point. Yeah, and take part in CTFs, have fun, and enjoy the journey.
Thank you so much. All right, everyone. So this is just the beginning of CodeQuest. And now I will be sharing a quick look into what's coming up next in our hackathon. So we will be soon having our second workshop where we will be diving into CTF tools. So make sure to keep an eye out on that. We will share the information really soon as well. And then we will be proceeding into our initial round where you can, participate and see how your CTF knowledge applies to these questions and scenarios. And then, of course, the finalists, the winners of the initial round, will be proceeding into the final round. And we will be concluding with a awarding ceremony at last. Hope you are gearing up for the upcoming events as well. All right, now let's take a moment to acknowledge our amazing sponsors. Introducing you to our gold sponsor, Spera Labs, pioneering AI innovation in Sri Lanka and supporting the success of CodeQuest, the Vault Edition. And of course, our silver sponsor, Zone 24/7, specialists in providing end-to-end technology services. We are so grateful to have both Spera Labs and Zone 24/7 as our sponsors for CodeQuest. All right, before we wrap things up, let's take a virtual group photo. Everyone, please turn on your cameras for a moment so that we can capture the end of our amazing first session. You can download the virtual background from the chat box as well as from the delegate group. Shall we have everyone turn on their cameras for a moment, please? In the meantime, a quick reminder that you can find the feedback form as well. Make sure to give us your feedback. We value it really a lot, so feel free to use it as well. All right. It would be amazing to have at least half of our participants join us in the group photo, so we will wait another 2 minutes. Also, this is a message to all the participants. You will receive your e-certificate if you join both our workshops. So make sure to join our next workshop as well, and you will be awarded a valuable e-certificate. All right. All right, we got a lot of participants turning on their cameras. That's amazing. Shall we take the photo then? All right. On my count to three, okay? 1, 2, 3. All right. I think we have gotten a really cool group photo, I suppose. Thank you so much everyone for joining for the group photo. Alright, that brings us to the end of today's session. And thank you once again. Alright, in the screen you can see the QR code to our feedback form as well. Feel free to use it. We value your feedbacks a lot. So go ahead, give us your feedback. You can use the link in the delegate group as well to submit your feedback. And with that, we are coming to the end of today's session. Thank you once again to our speaker and to all our amazing participants and to the organizing committee behind the scenes. This is just the beginning, like I said, of CodeQuest, and see you again in workshop 2, and hopefully all of you will join us for the final hackathons as well. And until then, stay curious, stay sharp, and most importantly, stay secure. Thank you so much and have an amazing night, everyone.